So verse number 3, let's see page 110, right? So when the seer, I read that, when the seer sees the golden color, self-effulgent Purush, or Supreme Being, the ruler of the universe and the source of creation, then that illumined one completely gets rid of all deeds of merits and demerit, becomes pure and taintless, and achieve the absolute state of equipoise. This is a word you have to remember, equipoise. That is, he becomes free from suffering, right? So here, what is the Mundaka Upanishad telling us? That when the seer sees the golden color, golden color here is represents the Supreme One, right? The Supreme One, by the word golden color, it means the Supreme One. So when the seer, right, again the sage, the wise man, the seer, sees the golden colored, the ruler of the universe, the source of creation, then the seer becomes illumined, right? So how to see the golden color? Seeing the golden color, which is seeing God. Well, like that, we can't see God as such, but we can experience, we can reach him. By seeing God means to realize God. When you say to see God, it means to realize God, right? To realize the characteristics of God, the qualities, the characteristics of Brahman. He is the cause of everything. He is the ruler. He is the master. And actually, we are nothing in front of him. We are just instruments in the hands of God. So when we realize God, what happened? We become free from suffering. This is what we call the state of moksha or of liberation. Okay, when we realize God, we become free from suffering. And we are free from the cycle of birth and death, means there is liberation. There is no rebirth again, right? So there is a word which I told you, important word is equipoise. When we realize the God, right? When we realize God, we get moksha. We come to a state which is called equipoise, right? Equipoise can be called equilibrium, right? It can be called balance as well. So what does that mean exactly? To be in the state of equipoise, vidya, to be free from the pair of opposite. Meaning, we are no more affected by pain. We are no more affected by joy. We are no more affected by suffering and pleasure. We remain stable, no permanent stability in our life. That is the state of moksha. And this is called the equipoise state. Krishna has explained that also in the Bhagavad Gita, that our aim of life is to reach the equipoise, right? So Krishna also explained this in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says that we need to have virtues, right? Like forgiving, truthfulness, to be happy and all, right? So that is called the state of equipoise, where we don't see differences among people, right? We consider everyone to be equal, including humans, including nature, including animals, right? We don't have hatred. We have good qualities. We develop a good qualities, right? We don't have bad qualities like hatred, anger, ego, and all. We don't have these things. When we don't have the bad qualities, we have only the good qualities. We are free from the pair of opposites. It is called the equipoise state, right? So this is verse number 3. Let's see verse number 4 in your book, page 112. The paragraph in italics, I read it. Verily the prana, the vital force, the Lord shine in all beings. Here the prana no malma means air, life force ou bien air, right? But here prana is being referred to God. God is the prana, is the life force, is the vital force, prana. So God is the prana and the God shines in all beings. Vidya, God lives in everyone. He is in the form of the Atma in all of us, right? I continue to read there. The wise who knows this does not talk foolishly. He sports in the self, delights in the self, and is engaged in religious deeds. He is the best among the knowers of Brahman. Here we are talking again about the person who reaches the state of equipoise. And Addu shows here about God and the person who reaches at the state of equipoise. Right. So the first thing about God, we said God is prana. God is in all beings, like the Atma, see God, right, in all of us. And the one who does not realize, that God is in everyone, God is in all beings, he is a fool. Who knows, the wise who knows this does not talk foolishly. So again, like Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita stated that the one who does not, right, the one who does not realize God, the one who refuses to believe in the existence of God is a fool, right? So here it says also that the wise men, the sages, the seers, the good people, the virtuous people, all those who can realize, who are able to realize there is God in everyone, in every being. Such a person is wise, is called a wise man. Krishna stated that also in the Bhagavad Gita. Who is a fool? Who is a wise man? So the wise man does not talk foolish things about God, right? Not only about God, but everything good. Parce que s'il n'est pas believed on God, most of the time, il peut soit un matérialiste. Most of the time, pas tous les temps. Most of the time, il peut un materialist who likes only enjoying, eating, drinking, and merrymaking. Remember that well. Eating, drinking, and merrymaking. Right? So that is the difference between the wise and the fool. You can write, it has been stated in the Bhagavad Gita as well, right? So the wise devote his time, his life, his actions to God. This is what we call surrendering to God. It is one among the 9 forms of devotion, to surrender to God. Who does that? Not the fool. The wise do that. What is called surrendering life or surrendering action to God? That is every action that we do Our aim, God is God. Si nous pouvons faire an act of violence, ça veut dire our aim is not God. But if we are going to help someone, to give someone food, our aim is God, because we are seeing God in all these people whom we are helping. So this is devoting life to God, ou bien actions to God. We need to be engaged in spiritual and in religious actions. Tout long la vie, en fait, it should be like that. Since we childhood till we become old, all of us, we need to be engaged in religious as well as spiritual actions. Parce que this will be a way and chemin pour nous to be able to realize God, right? Nous pouvons enjoy life, fine. All of us enjoy life. But at the end, comme on peut enjoy pour arriver à un temps dans où la vie pour plein enjoying things, right? So then we need to keep that spirituality and religious life in us. So the seeker always remains active. Il va faire paresse. A person who is religious and spiritual always remain active. Tous les temps, il reste active. Active in terms of what? There's no laziness. The person does work, any kind of work, helping people, going to the temple, doing donation, whatever, right? Tous les temps passe dans religious or spiritual actions. Now, you may tell me that if you are traveling in the bus, Q as religious and spiritual action. It has been said that we need to do japam. Japam means we take the name of God, we remember God wherever we are, right? So the seeker does not remain lazy. He remains active always. Even if someone, même bien fatigué aussi, someone will come to ask for help, a seeker veut dire du monde qui want to get liberation. A seeker will always help. The people get so comfort, right? The person, the seeker, is selfless. The people say, no, I'm fatigué, so I won't be able to do that. No, never, right? So we continue with verse number 5. I read in the book, page 114. Okay, 114. The italics one. The self is verily to be attained by constant practice of truth. So far, we have been talking, we need to realize God, we need to get moksha and all. How to do that? Here it is. So we need to do constant practice of truth, concentration, perfect knowledge, and celibacy. When all the impurities are removed, the sinless sees the pure and bright self within the body. Very nice one. So verse number 5 talks about the effort, the actions we have to do to reach the Supreme, to reach moksha. And what is it? Seven virtues like practice of truth. Concentration include silent sitting, breathing techniques, meditation. Tout ça include dedans. Knowledge is very important. Perfect knowledge. Si je te rappelle bien, last time we talked about lower knowledge and higher knowledge. Knowledge in mal écrit là. There's no E here. So we talked about lower and higher knowledge, right? Lower knowledge, plutôt like, you know, the academic knowledge you're getting, right? Higher knowledge, para vidya, higher knowledge will mean knowledge which leads us to liberation. So that is called perfect knowledge. A person needs to have perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge means also to read scriptures, whether it is Ved, Upanishad, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Puran, whatever scripture it is, it includes that also, reading of scriptures. So I say a common duty. When we will do ashrama, we'll talk about it more. It is a common duty of one and all to read scriptures. Ne pas attendre qu'on arrive 60 ans pour read, as per what has been said in scriptures. Since childhood itself, that the person needs to read, right? And reading is constant. Jamais ne peut pas dire nous finissons lire Bhagavad Gita, so nous finissons vraiment. Because next time when we open the Bhagavad Gita again, we read the Bhagavad Gita again, we are going to learn new things qui qu'en première fois nous lire nous pas comprendre. It's always like that for all scriptures, for any book, actually it's like that. That's why reading is important in spirituality. So here we're talking about the virtues to be practiced: truth, concentration, knowledge, celibacy. Ça, c'est une affaire, un mot qui est bien misunderstood. What is the meaning of celibacy? Normalement, quand nous disons nous célibate, veut dire quoi? Qui ne pas marié. That is the usual meaning that we learn, that we know, we hear about. Celibate, ça veut dire ne pas marié. But no, it's never like that. Celibacy means brahmacharya. Livre qui est un stage of life qui appelle brahmacharya ashram, que nous pas supposé in marié. Nous allons dans Gurukul, nous apprenons, like you are going to school. C'est brahmacharya ashram, right? But the word celibacy applies for one and all. Pas si c'est un student qui parle in Gurukul qui observe celibacy. Everyone in life has to observe celibacy, right? Celibacy means control of senses and the mind. So control of senses and the mind, n'est pas réservé pour students going to Gurukul. It's for all, right? Even someone who is married, the couple will have to practice celibacy, control of senses and control of the mind. Comment? You know, when we get married, we can enjoy sensual and sexual pleasures. Fine, very normal. The natural urge, God created us like this. But there are times, for example, maintenant là, nous avons Navami, nous God Karam, Durga Puja, etc. For Ram Navami and all. This is the time where celibacy is practiced. Et souvent des fois, tous les mois, Ekadashi, there's another festival, there's another fasting. This is celibacy we have to observe. Si nous appliquons celibacy, le grihastha ashram and couple qui marié, lui aussi veut dire not to have extramarital affairs. This is the meaning of celibacy, right? So control of senses and control of the mind. And this is going to lead us to moksha. So the seeker removes his ignorance. Quand il peut lire, il peut study scriptures, he is removing his ignorance. By practicing the virtues, he removes all his bad qualities, all his impurities. But he peut practice truth. He is always talking or bien speaking the truth, right? So when we do all these stuff, all these things we are talking about, he is able to see the light in him, to see the light in us, to realize the soul, self-realization. Atma Gyan, Brahma Gyan. C'est ça qui nous appelle Atma Gyan ou Brahma Gyan. Even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, I guess it is chapter 10, 9 or 10 or something like, where he talked about Brahma Gyan, self-realization, realization of the soul, right? So You know, we can say Atmagyan, Brahmagyan, bien facile pour dire, but it's only a process to reach there. Okay, speaking the truth, concentration, meditation, and process de ça. You can't just sit in meditation like, you know, sans sous-estime qui can, parce que il y a du monde qui a fait. Si nous get Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, the reformer Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, he could easily go in a trance in meditation. But if we talk about people in Kali Yuga right now, at this time, present time, it's not an easy thing for us to do meditation. Your mind will very much divert, right? So it's only a process of doing that. We learn to control the mind, the senses, the small, right? So it's only a process. We need to go step by step to reach Atma Gyan or Brahma Gyan, and that means to be liberated, right? Let's see verse 6, page 115 dans tout moi. I hope your book also is the same, right? Verse number 6, the English translation. Truth alone wins, and 1 minute, please. So we were saying truth alone wins and not untruth. Devayan, the path of the Devas, is opened by truth and by which the desireless sages ascended to the highest abode of truth. Here focus is on one of the virtue, which is called Satya, right? Satya means truth, right? So it is said that truth alone wins, not untruth. You know that quote, the Indian dans la cour indien, tout le temps in rasa. Satyameva Jayati. This is from Upanishad. Yeah, so this is from the Upanishad. Satyameva Jayate. That is only truth. Satya Vijaya, truth. Eva means only. Jayate means victory. So only truth triumphs. That is the win, right? So you can add that also in your work. No, untruth, bien sûr, will never win at the end. Donc, throughout our life, being spiritual and religious, we have to focus on Satya, on truth as a quality. Maintenant, si nous get le mot truth itself, how do we describe that? C'est-à-dire, nous cause la vérité. Ça, c'est un. Deuxièmement, it means truth veut dire that which exists. Le mot sat. Sat, ou bien even le mot sad. Not sad in English, sad. In Sanskrit, sad. It means that which exists. So what is that which exists? There's only one thing which exists forever, and this is God. That's why God is referred to Sat, Chit, Anand. Right? Sat, Chit, Anand. So le mot Sat veut dire truth. Truth, like we need to speak the truth. But another dimension of the meaning Sat is that which exists. That is God. Sat Vidya, God aussi. So God alone is eternal. He is the real truth. Real truth, Vidya. Apparently, no one will be eternal here. Actually, no one is eternal. Only God. Even the planets, all the beings here on earth, we are all temporary. Even the water, all the 5 elements, too temporary. Only God is real truth. Real truth veut dire tous les temps, ni plus là. Right? So Gandhi also has put emphasis on truth. He always said God is truth and truth is God. You can add that also in your work. Right? It's up to you. Another one which you can quote in your work is Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. The Upanishads has taught us to always speak the truth. Satyam Vada. Vada is to say or to speak. Satyam Vada, speak the truth. Dharmam Chara. Chara means to act. Dharmam Chara means to, to act righteously according to Dharma. Dharma with their righteousness. Right? So this is verse number 6, where it is talking about truth, right? You know, truth, the word truth, in a beaucoup level of dimension of explanation for the word truth. For now, we can, for your level of SC, c'est plus ou moins ça you have to understand, right? Verse number 7, I didn't write much here, type much here, because it is talking about the qualities of Brahman. Let's read in the book, pour moi, page 118, verse number 7. Brahman is vast, divine, and beyond all imagination. If I tell you to imagine about God, about Brahman, kyu pu imagine? In the Purusha Sukta of the Rig Veda, it has been said, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha. God has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, thousands of hands, and all, it continues like that, right? So it is, God is beyond our imagination. I continue in the book. He shines in various forms. God is in us, no? God is shining within us. He is subtler than the subtlest, farther than the farthest, and nearer than the nearest. Bien plus loin, ni même plus près. This is also from the, it has, in the Isha Upanishad also, there has been the same kind of description about Brahman, about God, in the Isha Upanishad. I continue to read. In other words, Brahman is far as well as near. Brahman is next to you. Brahman is in you. Brahman is in America somewhere. Brahman is on Mars, on Venus, right? So, les far en même temps les near. He is everywhere. He is omnipresent. He is within the body, outside as well. Les dans nous, right? Il est aussi en dehors nous body. Seers and sages in this very life realize Brahma residing in the cavity of the heart. Nous disons, non, bon Dieu, côte rester. Bon Dieu dans Kedarnath, bon Dieu dans Amarnath. Yes, God is there. But the nearest place where we can find God is the heart. God lives in us, in our heart. We can go on pilgrimage to visit places where Shiv was, where God was, Ram was. We can go, no problem. But before that, we need to realize God is within us. God is in our heart. God is around us, near us, right? So this is verse number 7.